wrapped up in my sleeping bag, looking out the window at Aaron's house as the sun is beginning to creep over the horizon. And the trees are silhouetted black against the emerging blue sky with the fading stars up in the sky. And I think to myself how much I hate Aaron because he's got it fucking made with this fantastic house of his, this nice little piece of property tucked away out in the backwoods of South Dakota. God, I fucking hate him. I hope he dies. I hope he dies of syphilis. You piece of shit.
I have a female friend. I have many female friends, actually, which many of you may not believe, but there's still some cool gals out there that appreciate the honest guy. Am I fat? You sure are. Oh my god. Well, you're on your path to finding a guy because you asked. I don't know. Maybe it's up to you if you take action. No, you're beautiful the way you are. So which would you like, my female friend? Do you want me to give you the backstabbing, no help lies that feel good that all your female friends are going to tell you that will result in no progress and production and success in your life? Or do you want the truth? Can I have the pretty lies? Sure, go read Oprah's books. I have a friend. She is female. She's a very nice lady. And she unfortunately she's not married, and that's fine. And not saying that anything wrong, but there's no guy in her life, is what I'm saying. And interestingly enough, she comes down to Vegas as well. She followed the lead of me and the GF. And she says, well, she's empty nester, um, wants to escape Minnesota, doesn't like the winters. And this is now her second year coming down to Vegas. And I gotta hand it to her because she's from a culture to community that's rather nothing bad, just cosmopolitan, very reserved, risk averse. But here's this 50-year-old broad. She's like, I'm gonna try Vegas. It's like, the people you like, that's the last person I'd expect to take a gamble or a risk. So you're kind of impressed. I'm like, really? You're gonna really? Yeah, I think I am. I'm like, all right, yeah, man. Okay. So this is her second year out here. And naturally, she has a car. So she is from a rather well-to-do background. And we just ended up getting to talking. And her car, she's really worried about her car. She says, "Oh, I had to get a battery replaced." And I just wince because I know she always goes to the dealer. I'm like, I'm gonna call her a lady. I don't want to mention her actual name. I say lady. Because I know I could, she's a friend. I'd replace it for free. What's a battery cost? Like maybe 80 bucks, depending on the battery, not more than 100. Take a wild guess. What the Honda? Fuck you, Honda. Fuck you. You're, you're horrible. Horrible. I know all the dealerships are horrible, but oh my God. Take a wild guess what the Honda dealership charged this poor woman to replace her battery. 300 fucking dollars. And I said to my friend, lady, before you do anything else with your car, I don't care if it's an oil change, an air filter, or whatever other bullshit. If there's anything wrong with your car, run it past me first before they stab you in your back for $300 to replace a battery. I could have done that. She had to probably have an appointment. I don't know. How'd she get it there? Battery go dead. Boy, by God, now that I think about it, if she drove there, the battery was probably fine. It probably, oh yeah, you need a new battery. I said, next time, just have me do it. Okay, I'll do it. But then it got me to thinking, this gal doesn't have a husband. If she had a husband, if there was a man in her life, this wouldn't have flown. And then it dawned on me that there's now an entire generation of women without men, without husbands, because you don't want them. Let's be clear about that. Or you don't want the ones that are currently in the market, which is fine. That's okay. We don't want to force you, or certainly I don't. But you decided that you're going to go and whatever, not have a man in your life. Fine. But this story with my lady friend and knowing a couple other people having, agents in the field report, it dawned on me that there is now no longer this street smart guard, a, an additional line of reason. I'm not saying women can't have a line of reason, but what's the word I'm looking for? Men know when they're being bullshitted, a heightened sense of fuckery. Men have a better sense when somebody's putting a little bit of lube on the dildo. Men got this sixth sense. The hair on the back of our neck goes up, and we got a better eye, a better radar when it comes to people trying to screw us over financially and specifically within the trades, right? I just, what was it, 2 months ago, went and got an oil change. Super Lube, Rapid City, go fuck yourselves. I'm going to mention you until I'm dead as the world's shittiest oil change place. Super Lube. They just didn't tighten the bolt down. It was my mistake. It was my mistake for not doing my own oil change. I thought I'd be efficient, which it wasn't being efficient. It was paying people not to do an oil change. That's basically what it was. But when they're, oh yeah, it's not sinking. We're afraid it's stripping. That was the excuse. And so I did it myself. No, it wasn't stripping. They just didn't tighten it down. Dumb. But I got the street smarts, right? I know. I've dealt with contractors. I've owned houses for quite some time now. I've done a lot of my own auto repair. I've wrenched on my bike. I've done sheetrocking. I have some basic introductory exposure to the world of tradesmen and repair, whether it's a car or a house. So you got an idea of what the market going rate is, and $300 for a battery is highway robbery. And again, Honda should be ashamed of itself. But without men in your, and in the past, you'd have a man in there. You'd have an added line of defense against this fuckery. But you don't have that now. And by God, by golly, here comes well endowed Molly. You know what this is going to result in? Not going to result in, it's here. The future is now. You got yourself a pink tax, a legit, bona fide, no fucking joke pink tax. And if you don't know what a pink tax is, it's this, what was, I think it was razors. Men, there were men razors for their face and women have razors for their legs. And the female razors were made pink because women, whereas men, black or dark green or some kind of blue. It didn't really matter. Guys don't care. But they found out they were charging more for the razors, the pink razors, than men. Now, I think it was also maybe there was more blades or something like that. But feminists and women got all upset because they were being charged more. And they called it the pink tax because the razors were pink, but literally no different than the men's razors. I think Burger King, a reason I don't eat at Burger King anymore, in addition to the fact that the food, though tasty, is not healthy. They did a pink tax. Don't quote me on this, but didn't you guys at Burger King say you were going to charge women less to make up for the pink tax? You tried doing, you dabbled, you stuck your microscopic dick into woke advertising, didn't you, Burger King? If we look it up again, but you prided yourself on, we're fighting the pink tax. And then this begat a whole thing of looking at different products that were exclusively made for women versus a comparable product to men, and women would pay more. So the idea of a pink tax, that you're just charging women more because they're women, an actual sexist bigoted tax, which is wrong. That idea, that's what's called a pink tax. Now, surprise, is everyone in their sitting down chair? Is everyone sitting down? Could you believe that more often than not, the idea of a pink tax was really just to beget victim status and whine and complain and perpetuate the fact that women have it so hard in America, we need more money. Yeah, I know. I know you guys are shocked. Beauregard, fetch me my fainting couch. I'm glad you're all sitting down for that one. But this is real. And this isn't cheap, right? If I thought about it a little bit more, maybe to expand, but auto and home repair is not cheap. And not to say that there's, that the guys, all the men under 50 are these street smart quasi mechanics and carpenters themselves. You take your average 32-year-old millennial, whatever age that happens to be. What is it? Only 30% of millennials own a hammer, or whatever that statistic was, if even true. I'm not saying you guys are these rugged 1950s men who could build a house and fix your car. I'm not saying that, but the women are way worse. They lack that male cynicism, that street smarts about them. They're like, hey, that's bullshit. Or at least like, I got to shop around. And without having men in your lives, and I know, ladies, you just hate that concept. I know that's it. We don't need you. Yes, yes, yes. We've heard it a million times before. And I'm being one of the more libertarian types, like, well, that's your right. That's your prerogative. I'm more curious than I am butthurt about that. The absolute rejection of men, and not absolute, but the disproportionate pushing overwhelming majority of women's rejection of men. I'm more amused or bemused. I'm entertained by that than I am hurt or offended. And also, I just don't like telling other people what to do with their life. Hey, you don't like men, you don't like, okay, fine, you don't have to get married. But without the men in your life, there is now going to be a real pink text, because the lady came now. Look, is the Honda dealership going to screw over Tanner, the 38-year-old millennial music therapy major Tanner? Yeah, they charge him $300 for the battery, sure. But don't tell me ain't going to skip. Women are going to go and outsource most of their repair and maintenance. The toilet doesn't work. I know a plumber. He's like, oh yeah, we charge. The Bipsy flushed her tampons down the toilet, which she wasn't supposed to do. And all you had to do is either get a snake or whatever, or even one of those, the plungers. He goes, yeah, it's a $400. I think it's like a $250, just a maintenance call, like a $250 minimum. A lot of this is women's lack of knowledge. Sorry, lady, I gotta be honest. Do you want your cars to run or not? A lot of it is your lack of knowledge of maintenance and repair of all your fixed physical assets. How long do we have to keep telling people don't flush tampons down the toilet? Feminine care products. You see that? You go to the bathroom at a restaurant, shared bathroom. Don't flush. But really? We still have to do this? And whereas a guy or a husband or a man, if you had him in your life, whatever capacity, would like, no, we just do this. No, we're not paying $300 for a battery. I'll just go get one. Or give me the old, takes it out, hops in the other car, drives it over to O'Reilly's or AutoZone. Give me that. Give me the one. Take the 2 bolts, put it back on. Boom, there you go. $50, $70 later, depending on the price of the battery. You girls are going to get screwed over on very expensive things. Maybe not the most expensive thing ever. I mean, that's the acquisition of a car, the acquisition of the house, or ladies, in your case, your completely worthless master's degrees and butt plug studies or touchy-feely whatever it is that you majored in. But maintenance and repair, especially if you're charging $300 for a battery replacement. Oh my God. Let's mention another one. Discount Tire. Discount Tire. Let me tell you about Discount Tire. I did a video on Discount Tire. I ended up having to get a tire, or 2 tires, back tires replaced on one of my cars. And I go in and I get the bill and I'm looking at it and it says $100 like tire insurance. I said, what's this $100 tire insurance? Oh, that's in case the tires, are defective. I'm like, if the tires are defective, you're replacing them for free anyway. I'm like, take that off. Discount Tire now automatically puts on 100, depending on the cost of what do you, how big of a dildo, Discount Tire, do you shove in everyone's ass, hoping they don't catch that tire insurance scam you got going on? Jimmy John's now not the same category. Jimmy John's used to ask, would you like cheese with that? I think, yeah, I would. You know what they were charging for slices of cheese? $4. Fuck you, Jimmy John's. Now, that's not HVAC work or a $400 unclogging the toilet of tampons, stabby, and it's still stabby. But how many, here's what I want to know. Here's the statistic I want to know. How much money has Discount Tire made stabbing people with that bullshit tire insurance between men and women. I know you've gotten both. I know you've stabbed both. But if I did a pie chart, what is it going to be? I'm going to bet you it's going to be 70% women, 30% men. So I guess in a way, both men and women are paying this scumbag, mechanic scumbag, carpenter scumbag, contractor tax. But because women, for better or worse, have the stereotypical or the reputation of being, well, I'm just a girl. I don't know. These contractors are going to stab you, man. They're going to take. I know garage repair, the garage motor, it goes out after a while. I might even try and replace it when mine goes out because I had to have Southern Command had to call up for my buddy and like, yeah, I don't think it's working anymore. Those guys make good money actually, by the way. But he was telling me, he's like, yeah, one time this lady called me up and she didn't have it engaged. You had to pull on this rope to have it engaged, otherwise it disengaged, and then it turns the garage into a manual garage. And he said, yeah, we had to charge 150 just for the service call. There is now, is the freedom from men worth this pink tax? You girls are going to pay disproportionately. That depends on the individual and as a whole. The Economist to me is very curious what this is going to cost women nationwide in the United States anyway. And I want to know the three non-boom Gen X, Millennials, and Gen Z. Because we got the spinster women. My generation of women are entering their spinster stage. I don't think they were terribly. They're more street smart than the younger generations. Oh, that's probably due to age. I would say Gen X women probably don't flush their tampons down the toilet as much. I dated one gal into another gal, both Gen X, who they 40,000 miles without an oil change. Like, I don't know how that lasted. So maybe, but I want to know total pink tax cost you girls of the Z, millennial, and X generations are going to pay over had you had a guy in your life, whether that was a husband or someone, lover, boyfriend, whatever. I'm real curious. And I know, you've said it. We heard it. You don't need no man. And that has not only borne out in words, but in deeds. But then I saw my friend and I'm like, what? $300 for and that's going to add up. That's going to add up. I had a quote from a contractor. I had to do a little bit of patio work. He wanted to tear the whole thing down and put it up anew. Gave me a quote for $110,000. And I'm looking at this guy. I'm like, I'm going to punch you in your fucking face. But I didn't say that or do it. Like, this is just a scam. And I'm like, do I look like the guy? And I was like wearing my duds. I wasn't like Thaddeus McDicksuck with his fucking cardigan draped around with big poofy blonde hair and slacks. Like, oh, Chisel, what's going on? And I'm like, yeah, okay, $110,000. Okay, I'll just do it myself. And for I think $1,500 of materials and several days of physical labor, which made it so I didn't have to go to the gym. Physical work I'd be doing anyway. I fix my own problem. Thank you very much. Here's what gets me. Let's take that $110,000 quote for a fucking patio. Why would he quote so much? Right? That sounds like that's not a Japanese refusal. But why would he think he could get away with it? You know why? Because he might have gotten away with it in the past. And I'm sure there's a lot of soft men out there who, whatever. Happy wife, happy life. I'm sure there's still a couple of those idiots running around. But I'm wondering if women were like, yeah, pay it. We need it. We're talking serious money you girls are going to be losing out on. Serious, and you could stop. You girls could learn trades. You could learn auto repair, computer repair. You could learn that, but I'm going to guess based on your degree choices, you don't want to. You have this idea of this world where you just follow your heart and the money will follow, and you keep following your heart, and then you're 43, but the money hadn't followed yet. But maybe it's a doctorate you need. And if there's any problem, you just throw money at it. Not like you need to maintain, it's not the perfect mental state, but there can be no inconveniences. And if there's a problem, you're willing to pay a tremendous premium to have that problem go away instead of eyeballing it yourself and assessing whether you could do it yourself much cheaper. Where if there was a 2 days hard labor involved, whoa, hard labor? Well, that's not just clicking on a mouse and typing on a keyboard. I will pay, no joke, I will pay 10 grand for someone else to do the hard labor. Like just as a test, it'd be interesting to find out what the price would. Let's say a lady needs a retaining wall, right? Hey, lady, you need a retaining wall. Otherwise, whatever, your foundation's going to wipe out or this hill is going to slide over your driveway. You need to put a retaining wall here. I'm wondering what the price the average woman under 50, let's just say, would pay to have that done, knowing it would be 4 days of hard physical labor. This is going to take 4 days of hard physical labor. You're going to have to haul the stuff. You're going to have to get the gravel. You're going to have to get the liner and all that. You're going to have to learn how to do it on the internet. What would the average? I bet, dude, I'm not kidding. I bet they pay 25 grand to have a. In my mind, I'm imagining 15-yard retaining wall, 4 or 5 feet high. I'd be curious what would the price, using that as a barometer, what would women pay? I bet you have enough women, they pay $1 million not to do it, but I'm thinking the average, I bet you it would be above 25,000, somewhere between $25,000 and $30,000. You'd be like, you could do it yourself. You could do it yourself. And I think so sorry, let my economic mind wander here a bit. They are not buying the retaining wall. They are buying the convenience and the luxury of not having their lives interrupted. I think I figured it out. Men too, but in this particular case, paying a pink tax, what will women pay to not have their life inconvenienced? And there are going to be some wolves out there who will charge you an arm and a leg for that. And normally I'd like to end with some kind of, and here's how you prevent. There's no preventing this. There's none of it. Right? Let's just be honest. You girls aren't going to go buy a bunch of tools at Home Depot, right? And you're not going to go to Harbor Freight to get the one-time use tools you need because those always fall apart. God damn, man. A lot of people calling, a lot of scam callers today. Let's say, my friend, I got to ask, I said, well, obviously I have my answer right there. She was willing to pay $300 for a battery. She was. There's my answer. Look, for anyone within driving distance, if you need your battery replaced, ladies, and you're within driving distance, I'll do you a favor. I'll do it for $250. All right. I could make lots of money just replacing, 18 to 58-year-old women's batteries. But you would have had a husband for that. A husband would have done that for you, or at least would have said, no, go, I'm busy, but you go find a better deal than that. And you girls, here's the conclusion. I mean, we're not going to take action on it. You girls are going to pay. You are going to pay this pink tax for not having men in your life. And I'm not saying that's well, then you better go marry the man. That's not what it is. I'm just saying, I know you said you didn't need men, but boy, they brought a lot of benefits and use with them when you had them. They really did have, and this was one thing I hadn't observed before, where I was like, oh yeah, no, we're not paying $40,000 for a new roof. Are you nuts? Link below, I have a link to all my stuff. There's nothing specific. I got my courses and my books. They're all about getting your personal financial shit together, both men and women. I have a link to my Incogni account, or it's not my Incogni account, my Incogni affiliate program. So if you want to have all that information on you on the internet taken away, use the Incogni link I have below. There's also, oh, what the hell is it? Cameo. Yeah, you can have me. It's a cool little thing they have going on, where if you got a buddy and you guys both, oh, I like Cappy, he likes Cappy, but it's his birthday, you can have me send a video via the phone calling him a dipshit and he's got a small penis, whatever guys do, whatever you want. That's it's kind of fun. I had one guy was like, yeah, my friend just broke up with his girlfriend. Can you tell him what a loser he is? Punch him while he's down. I was like, dang, this guy's got some friends. There's the road trip podcast. That's through the Subscribe Star link below. That's the only membership thing I have. It's $2 a month. If you can pay more if you'd like, but it's $2 a month. It gets you access to the road trip podcast. I think there's some other links below, but they're escaping me now. Dre, for $2, but Cappy, you got 25% advantage of knowing bad deals. I do have 25% advantage. Y'all give me guff for having that quarter Jewish blood. And it isn't, by the way, my frugality does not come from my quarter Jewish blood. It comes from being poor when I was a young man. I'm like, it's not. I'm not paying that. It's very much more. Here's what, Aaron, how'd you become a minimalist? Just because you didn't have the money. It wasn't a choice. You had to be. It was like, it's not that I won't afford it. I can't afford it. I don't have the money to buy it. So you become a very good shopper of all things when there's no money. Colin K, $2. Even the FTC admits no evidence of pink tax. If there was research done on it, sure. I'm so cynical and jaded about every little group out there, except straight white male Christians. Like, oh my God, I'm so oppressed. Shut the fuck. It's so dumb with it. I just don't care anymore. I'm just going to assume you're lying, and it's the standard old victim grift. However, I will say, and it's not going forward, I'm talking, it's happening now. Without having that guy in your life, no matter how much you girls may have hated him, there were some benefits to having men in your life, and this is one of them. Commodore Jensen, $5. There are some street smart ladies, but hitched now. I saw one today. She's a mechanic. Wait, there you go. Good for her. But she has tattoos and she's married. I'm telling you, she's foxy. Yep. There are some girls, of course, naturally, 150 million women in this country, whatever it is. I know a gal works on the oil rigs. She can fix anything. She's obviously way better mechanic than I am. I'm talking your average 94, 93% of the female population between 18 and 58, let's just say. They are going to, you girls won't know it. Oh, my car's making a funny noise. And here's a $4,500 bill and you'll pay it. You'll pay it for the convenience. YouTube viewer, $5. Tampons do exactly what they're supposed to. Tampons stop the flow of liquid in everything, including pipes. Yep. And here we are, 2025. We still got to tell you girls, don't flush your tampons down the toilet. Then you complain, the plumber bill is $400. But would you sleep with the plumber and maybe consider a plumber as a husband? We're done with this inconsistency and delusion. Don't care anymore. I don't need him. Well, you needed him for at least an hour. I don't need no man, except for the cop when your thing got stolen, or the plumber when the pipes got there, or the gas refining when, It's cute you say you don't need men. Colin K, $2. Ma'am, the doohickeys were discombobulated. $649. Remember blinker fluid? That's the Commodore Jensen. Wait, did I skip your first one? Oh, there we go. Okay, I got that. $5. The amount of sacrifice it takes to become a premium woman who is in shape, who doesn't care about popularity as much as other women is great. Oh, I could write let me tell you something, Commodore. I've thought about doing a course on how to get the man of your dreams. But unlike, is it Matt Hulsey? Matt Hussey? Who's good, actually, by the way. He's not wrong. He's too polite, and women don't listen to what he's actually saying because he's an exceptionally attractive man and they all want to fuck him. I was thinking about just doing good old pissed off Cappy, how to find your dream husband course. Let's put it this way. The percentage of women that are empirical, that are selfless and are capable of kicking solipsism, to realize that you want something from the rest of the world, you need to realize that you are but a small little microscopic cell in this entire organism called the world, and you need to get other people. You need to realize there are other people, and they have their own wants, desires, incentives, and motivations. You must deliver something to those things in order for that other person to be equally interested in you. It's almost a wall, a genetic or hardwired. There's no reasoning. There's no sitting them down and discussing it. The amount of mental acrobatics I've seen women as well as some men go through to keep believing in what they want to believe and not what's real is just amazing to me. The fact follow me in on it. Some women are so delusional, they actually think they can shame you into liking fat women. They actually think that. And ladies, I'll tell you right now, the secret is just being empirical and acknowledging you're not the only person that exists on the planet and says, oh shit, this is how the real world works. I better start playing by these rules. If you can do that, you will do a lot better in life, including the pursuit of the opposite sex. But getting in shape, doesn't care about popularity? No, it's not going to happen. It's borderline impossible. It gets to the point you just don't care anymore. It is not my problem, not my responsibility, and way too much fucking effort to argue with somebody, male or female. You shouldn't be fat. And I got to hear these bullshit counter arguments. Big is beautiful, health at any. Okay, fine. You don't want to adhere to reality. That's the real debate here. And I'm not going to argue with someone who doesn't want to adhere to reality. Oh my God, you like thin women with big boobs? You're shallow. Fuck you. I'm done. I'm not. There's a person that I don't have the time to talk to because there's no reason to talk to that person because they're not rational. Ass bucket, $5. In some newer cars, you cannot change the battery on your own because of all the technology, computers, electronics built in the car needs to be reset. Then but not getting that car. That would be another thing where a man would be somewhat useful. We're not getting that car. Dude, if I if I found that out, I'm like, no, you guys are resetting this. Fuck you. I don't give a fuck. You built a car that needs to be reset after I change the battery. The fuck out of here. I'd also got to imagine they make it easy enough where you just go into like the command screen and you reset it. Dre, $2. Women call CPA Elkins to unclog and stuff their pipes. Correct. Chad has a little side business going on. Suppazippy, $5. I enjoy being able to upkeep and work on my own stuff and fix my problems. I'm like the leader who was at one time a custodian and still cleans up and mops up. That boring old being able to maintain a property or an asset or a machine goes a long way, and it's under the radar, and no one, because it ain't glorious. Look at all the guys you grab. I mean, stereotypically, you girls want to go after these fuckwits who don't produce anything or do anything. Bankers, politicians, lawyers. Those guys can't do anything. You know? A lot of them don't even make the money. A lot of them don't make money. They borrow. Never mind. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. Meanwhile, the pipe fitter you won't give the time of day to, yeah, he's got a junk truck because he's going to scratch it up all the time. There's again, no empiricism. It's certainly when it comes to dating, no empiricism. Femboy Fantasia, $5. Brooklyn accent. Look, pal, you want a hole? I'll dig it for you. What you put in it, none of my business. Make the check out to my mother. How many there? I would love to do a study. How many girl boss, independent journalists, freelance journo, worthless people in New York City living the Sex of the City lifestyle? How much do they pay in maintenance or repair? That's what I want to know. Generation Apollo, $5. Since everything is being designed to be hard to fix without professionals, it's not just clueless women who'll be paying this pink tax. Yeah, you're right about that, Apollo. That's why I'm going to be buying old analog things. I am not getting a car later than 2018 or 2019. I'm just not going to happen. And if they're like, nope, you're fixing that. Or if I ever have to be at a dealership, like turn off all this shit and make it analog. But yet they want to do it. Okay, then who's going to fix it? Are the girls going to learn how to fix it? Are they going to? No, we're all going to pay more. But it's going to be gals who are paying more than the guys, because it's going to be the guys like, no, I'm going to learn this shit. Or I may be savvy enough to avoid these products. Dre, $2. As an economist, how would you measure trust and honor? I guess to be cheap about it, I just use the Corruptions Perceptions Index, or quote, the Corruption Index. It's put out by some organization. Crime rate would be a good one. Yeah, it's basically crime rate and corruption perceptions index. That's what I'd use. Albino, $5. Just watched a Glenn Beck vid on economy since 1994. The boomers screwed everyone since 1994 and just phoned or mailed it in since then. F boomers. Well, you got to give me a little bit more than that. I mean, like, why? Why 1994? That's kind of odd. Commodore Jensen, $2. It's real easy to fix a bike. A motorcycle, I mean, not a pedal bike. And yes, motorcycles are easier to fix than a car. All right, there you guys go. Link to all my stuff below. I'll see you guys later. Toodles.